and I took some notes. So from time to time I will look at them, just so that this video won't be too long and that everything I'm saying has a structure and that you can follow what I'm saying, okay? So, where do I start? I worked as a volunteer in England a few years ago for 6 weeks in summer. I had done that before and that had been a brilliant thing and I'd enjoyed it really much, so I wanted to do it again. And you might wonder now how, based on the title of this video, this could have happened to me, because I was just a volunteer and I was volunteering and I could have just stopped doing it when I didn't like the experience, but unfortunately it wasn't like this. So please listen to the whole story in order to understand what happened to me and why I couldn't just escape the situation, okay? So I was working as a volunteer in England with a volunteer program, and on the website of that program you can find hosts that are looking for volunteers, right? You can basically work all over the world, and when I did this for the first time, I just finished school and I worked at a Christian conference centre in England, and there I also met other volunteers my age. One of them is a Spanish girl I'm still friends with, and that was just an amazing experience. I really liked working at the centre. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was a really nice place and I just really enjoyed myself. So I wanted to do it again. But then the summer after that one, I couldn't work at that conference centre again because they already had enough volunteers for the season. But I didn't mind it because I was open-minded and I wanted to get to know other places as well. And in the end, I worked at an equestrian farm that was in the same region as that conference centre. I had been looking for a job in that particular region because I had lived there and I had friends in that region. I wanted to meet and see again. And before I went to that equestrian farm, I had spoken to the owners and the people I then stayed with in the end on the phone, and they were a young family, so a man and a woman, and they had a little son, and they seemed really nice, and that host had also received very good reviews of previous volunteers, so I was really looking forward to that experience. And I booked 2 flights that I could stay there for 6 weeks in total. So I arrived at the airport and the man, I won't say any names in this video, so I will just, refer to the man and the woman, and hopefully, you always know what I'm speaking about. So that man picked me up at the airport with a Spanish girl who was also volunteering there. So in total there were 3 volunteers, me, a Spanish girl and a Spanish boy, and I like both of them really much, and I'm so happy that they were there because otherwise I wouldn't have known how. I don't know if I would have survived my time there without these people. They were the only good thing about this whole experience. So the man picked me up, which was really nice, and we all went back to the farm, And when I'm saying farm, well, they called it any Christian farm, but when you think of a farm, you might think, it's like a small place, but that business was huge. It was a huge business, and these people owned so much land. And what they do is they offer riding lessons, and they provide stables and horse meadows, and they also hold, I think, competitions and stuff, and they provided all the facilities for campers or like people who wanted to go on holiday there with their horses, if that makes sense, or people who, so riding clubs who would do like a horse camp there with children. And so it was a very busy place. There were always so many guests, but I think basically, that's a nice thing to do, and I got to know a lot of people, which was nice. I was able to speak to many of the guests, and that Spanish girl had been there before, so the other Spanish volunteer, and she had liked it, which is why she came back. But the Spanish guy was there for the first time, and he had not been there before, and his English was really broken, so he wasn't able to speak a lot to us, but I did like him. And then I started working there, right, with everyone else. My tasks were, for example, to clean the stables every day, to pick up horse droppings, to clean all the facilities whenever a new camper came. They also had lodges for the people, so they had to be clean as well. And there was always so much to do, right? And the problem was not on the task, right? I see that these things have to be done in order to provide a good service. The problem was rather the workload. We worked so much, but before I went there, before I got there, the owners had told me that we would only have to work about 20 hours per week, so 5 days a week. It's like a law or like a rule of that volunteer program that you're not meant to exploit the volunteers, and that they're not supposed to work every single day for you, because ultimately you don't get paid. What you receive in return is is food, so all the meals and a bed, so I could stay there for free, as if I was part of the family, right? But then every single day we would start working at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we would have a 30-minute lunch break, and then afterwards, we would go back to work, and then we wouldn't finish until 6, and then we would have to cook dinner, so the volunteers had to prepare dinner. And then in total, I think we worked for like 8 to 10 hours every day, and it just felt like a lot, and I was always so exhausted in the evening. But then I noticed that no one would brush their teeth during the day, so I had my own room, my own bedroom, and my own bathroom upstairs, but like none of us went to their rooms in order to to rest for a while, or to just refresh themselves. But I really wanted to brush my teeth during the day, but no one else did, and I didn't want to be rude and just leave. So I always just went to the little toilet on the ground floor, and then right after lunch they always say, we've got to go back to work, but I am a very social person, right, and I don't like being on my own for very long, but what I was really missing there was some me time, like just that I could just lie in bed for at least half an hour and just breathe, because the work was so hard. It was really physical, physically hard, and it was just really hard. And then so we had to prepare dinner, and then afterwards the whole family would watch TV together. I mean, it's nice that we were really integrated into the family, but therefore I always felt like I had to be there. Like, I could never be on my own. I couldn't even like take a shower until very late at night. And normally the family would go to bed around 10ish. So yeah, and then like for the first few days I didn't say anything because I thought, well, they would probably give me a day off soon. They would probably do that soon. But we were always together, all of us, and I just needed a break from these people at some point. I just needed a break. It was okay for me like to work, and the tasks were all fine, but I just needed a break at some point. I just wanted a break so badly. And then after a week we all went to like a garden centre together, so that was like our time off, but we still did it together. And then because they didn't say you cannot have a day off or anything like that, I asked for one. And then they said it's fine, yeah, it's a busy place, and I know, I mean, on a farm you have to work every day, there's always something to do, but they said you can have a day off. And so I thought it was fine. And then at the same time, I think just a few days later, I actually went to a funeral because a pen friend of mine had died. Like, it was an old lady, but I'd really liked her. I'd known her for years, so I really wanted to go to a funeral. So when on my first day off, I think I met a friend, and then the second time was that funeral, right? And then afterwards, when I went back to the farm, the owners were acting so weird around me. Like, they didn't even ask me how the funeral had been or anything. It seemed like they were really annoyed that I'd begun for the day, but of course I wanted to go to the funeral, and they said it's fine, you can go there. And that just really disappointed me, because how can they expect that I work every single day? So the Spanish girl, she actually wanted to work every single day. She didn't want to explore the region or anything. She just loved working. She said, I'm a hard-working person. I can't really relax. And the Spanish guy was actually studying agriculture, so he really liked, being on the farm as well. So it always seemed like I was the only one who needed a day off. So I probably seemed very lazy. But I just needed that time. And then, for example, I just wanted to rest after finishing work. I didn't want to cook dinner every day, or when they were bringing the child to bed, until the owners came back. We watched another TV program, because when they're not there, I think we should be allowed to watch whatever we want to watch, right? And then, but whenever they came, we all watched Netflix together, and I really liked what we were watching, so it was fine. It's just whenever they were gone, I think we're allowed to do what we want. But then the owner would say, for example, the dinner is disgusting, and then I was just thinking, well, if you're not happy with it, then just prepare it yourself, because we are not even getting paid for all this. And I just felt so used and exploited, because we were working so many hours, and I didn't really feel like we received anything in return, and they saved so much money because they didn't have to pay us. And then I think once or twice I did go up during the day just to brush my teeth and just to get refreshed, because that toilet next to the house door was just not very nice. And yeah, that's just what I wanted to do. And then what happened was was that one day I cleaned all the water buckets on the horse meadows, and I was covered in horse droppings and dirt afterwards. I was so dirty afterwards. Honestly, I looked horrible. My whole outfit was just destroyed, and it was, very hard and disgusting to do it, I'm being honest. But then, as I walked back to the house for my lunch break, the woman came towards me and she screamed at me. And she shouted, I've got enough now. We'll have to book you a flight back home. And you're being so lazy, and you don't seem to like anything we do. You don't seem to like our food. You don't seem to like our TV programs. It seems like you're only here in order to meet your friends. And I was just shocked. Has someone ever screamed at you and really shouted? I was so shocked, and I was covered in horse droppings, and I just started crying. Because it really upset me. I had been working so hard, and then then they treated me like this, and it was so unfair because I had always watched TV with them. I had cooked my dinner, so why did they say that I don't like their food? And it just didn't make any sense. And then I've got the right to have some time off. And then they treat me as if I'm being so lazy and horrible, and it was just so unfair. And I cried and cried, and then she said, when I said to her, well, I don't want to leave because I've already booked my flight. I'd already booked all my flights, and I was meant to stay there for 6 weeks and then fly afterwards, and I couldn't just rebook the flight because I just didn't have the money. And I said, but I really want to sort this situation out, and I don't want us to separate having an argument. And so she said, yeah, well then, go to your room and we will eat lunch soon. Then I walked upstairs and I was crying so much. I was so angry. And then I remember sending a voice message to one of my friends there in my bathroom, and I was saying, you won't believe what just happened. This whole situation was so unbelievable and ridiculous. And then I had to go downstairs and eat lunch with these people, even though I was so angry and I just didn't want to be there, and I had to act like everything was normal. And then my friend who I'd sent that voice message to, she answered and she said, well, you can always stay, with one of us, it's fine, you don't have to be there. But then the problem is, that incident happened after I'd been there for about 2 weeks, so I'd still had 4 weeks until I would fly back to Germany, and I just didn't want to stay at my friend's place for a whole month. I would feel so bad, I wouldn't even be able to pay the rent, but I would want to pay rent when I'm staying there for so long. I just couldn't do it. And then, then my friend said, just leave, just pack your stuff and just leave. And I said, well, I can't, because the owners, they were always there, always. And the problem is that the farm was in the middle of nowhere, so you would have to walk for about 40 minutes just down a country lane, and then you would be at a bigger road, and then it would take another 20 minutes until you're actually in a town. So I couldn't just flee or just pack my stuff. And then it got even worse. So one evening next day, the man came over to me and he said, "Did you use my mug?" You know, as if he was really angry. I said, "Well, I just used the plain white one that I paid in the cupboard." And he said, "Yeah, that's mine, you know, you're not supposed to use that." And he said that to me while I was doing the dishes. And then, you know, he pushed me to the side, you know, in order to clean the mug in the sink. He pushed me. And how could he do that after I just used like a stupid mug? If I was not supposed to use it, then why was it in the cupboard? It was so ridiculous. And then I was actually scared of these people, so I thought, if I just left now, if I just packed my stuff, these people would scream at me. They would just scream at me again, or, you know, this guy is even being violent towards me. So I was so scared of these people, and I didn't know what to do, and I couldn't even tell my parents about it because my mum would have just been so worried. So I just always said, you know, it's fine, I like it here, I like it. And then, yeah, so in the end I just stayed there for 6 weeks because I couldn't afford staying anywhere else, and I'd already booked the flight, and I was scared of these people. I didn't just want to leave like that. And it always seemed like they never gave me a chance in the first place. And I asked the Spanish girl, like, why do you like it here when they want you to work for them every single day and you don't really receive anything back in return? And she just said, oh, it's fine, I just don't want a day off. And I said, yeah, but they're exploiting you, you know, based on what you're doing, you deserve to get paid. And then there was a girl who sometimes came for riding lessons I got on really well with. And then the woman once, you know, spoke to that girl, and that girl then told me about that conversation afterwards. And she told me that the woman had said to her, oh, I'm so worried about this volunteer because she doesn't seem to enjoy anything we do, and you know, she doesn't seem to be very happy. And I was like, that's so fake of you, that's so fake. And I don't want to judge these people, and I don't want to say they're horrible, but their behaviour was horrible. And then just before I left, you know, the woman suddenly came over to me and she said, oh, I booked you a massage to this spa centre that's, you know, here on the premises. And because she had booked it for me, I was obviously assuming that she would pay for it, because otherwise why would she do it without speaking to me about it first? So I went to that spa centre, but then, you know, the lady who gave me the massage, she just, you know, told me the price. So well, that meant that the owner hadn't paid her. So I had to pay for a massage I hadn't even wanted, I hadn't even booked myself. And then, like, the owner didn't come over to me and say, oh, you know, well, I paid the spa centre, you know, I paid the spa. So I just said, yeah, the massage was really nice and it wasn't really expensive. And then the owner just said, oh, really? Did you pay yourself? You know, I would have paid, it's fine. And I was thinking, well, they wanted me to pay them straight away, so what do you think? And that was just so stupid. And then I think the reason why they booked that spa appointment for me was simply because they didn't want me to give them a bad review on the program's website. And after I left, I wasn't even strong enough to really give them a bad review, because the problem is that when you give them a bad review, they're able to give you a bad review as well. And then it took like 3 or 4 months until I officially complained to the owners, that I officially complained to the people who were offering this program. I sent them like 2 emails, and just, you know, they were real long, and I just told them everything. I told them everything that happened. And I don't know if these people still, you know, welcome volunteers, but least they're no longer on the website, so I'm assuming not. I don't know if they were taken down. But then I even noticed that some of the reviews that I received didn't really make sense. So people would say that they were really annoyed with something that didn't even exist at that place. So then I was thinking, are these people actually giving themselves good review? Is it all fake? And 1 year after that experience, I worked as a volunteer again at a third place, and I really, really liked it there, and I've been there twice now. And there, I work like 20 hours a week, and I always got so much time off, and that was so much nicer than this horrible time at the equestrian farm. And yeah, I just want to tell you guys that it's always good to speak to people about such experiences, and I don't know if I should have done anything different